The Denver Nuggets lose to the OKC Thunder in a ridiculous fashion at home to open up the season. What did we learn today about the Denver Nuggets? Is this what we can expect from them going into this season? How will they bounce back versus the Clippers on Saturday? And y'all, what was Calvin Booth thinking? We're going to talk about all that and more here. Let's lock in. The Denver Nuggets lose to the OKC Thunder in a blowout in a game that after the Denver Nuggets started making substitutions with about 19-10 lead, everything went to crap. Everything went to crap. The team fell apart. Everybody stopped doing what they were supposed to do. It was a horrible display from the team from that moment on. And it started off the game super well. If you watch the game, the Nuggets started off, they were playing good defense. They were hitting shots. They were getting stops. They were everywhere. They were doing all the things that you're supposed to do as a contending team. But what happened is they haven't figured quite out how to get Russ into the starting unit. And then Julian Strawther came in. It's just a different identity. The punch from the team, it just isn't there. And when they came in with these substitutions, they were just an immediate run for the OKC Thunder, and they just did not look back literally for the rest of the game. At one point in time, I believe the Thunder went on a 32-13 run versus the Nuggets. 32-13. It was bad. It got real ugly. And the thing is, the Nuggets, man, they just don't have, in my estimation, some of the things they need on this roster outside of that starting five, I think that makes this viable. Y'all, the Denver Nuggets, I told you to go for the Nuggets. I said this on Locked On, maybe a couple other shows. The Nuggets should be looking to shoot anywhere from 37 to 41 threes this year. The Nuggets shot 39 threes. They made 18% of their threes at 7 of 39. Yo, Christian Brown had a really good game in many ways, and then in some, he did not. Christian Brown was 0-3 from 3, and every single one of his three-point attempts were wide open. They simply could not hit him and could not convert him. This is so interesting to me. The Denver Nuggets are in a situation now where they're going to have to find out how to manufacture some offense from their three-point shooting. But today, they just didn't do well enough where it mattered. Nikola Jokic, just get to some of the upside, 16, 12, and 13, got doubled the entire game. A really legitimate triple-double. He was getting fouled a lot today, only got to the line 4 times. He was a -9 in his minutes today. They were actually winning. Russ and them came in. He was a -2 when he went out. He was down 8 when he came back in. They made it kind of close in the third quarter, but it was just a wrap after that point. Jokic 16, 12, and 13. Aaron Gordon 12, 9, and 2. Christian Brown 16, 7, and 1 on 8 of 15. He was 8 of 12 from 2. Michael Porter 15 points, 8 rebounds, and 2 assists on 5 of 17 from the field and 3 of 10 from 3. He was just a -2, but 15, 8, and 2 on 5 of 17, less than 30% from the field. Jamal Murray today, 38 minutes, 12 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 4 of 14 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, -2. And I am not going to give that to injury. It has nothing to do with his injury. Jamal Murray has struggled playing versus OKC in the regular season over the last year. This has just become a matchup where they are closing out to him very quickly and making job very hard for him, apparently, where he is not able to adequately respond. And there were times today where they just needed a boost in scoring and three-point shooting, and he just didn't have it. Now, SGA didn't play great. He had 28, 7, and 8, but he was 11 of 24 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, 4 or 5 from the free throw line. He did have 3 blocks and 2 steals. I think he played a good game today. But SGA, who was hitting pull-up mid-range shots, he was getting in transition, he was hustling to the ball, he was doing all the things you want to see from your lead guard. Chet Holmgren at 25, 14, and 5 today, and 11 of 15. He was 11 of 13 from 2 today. 4 blocks, 2 steals. He was a +9 in his minutes. Yeah, their best two outplayed the Nuggets' best two. It's really that simple. Jamal is just in a situation, man, where he has just not been able to figure out just some of the things that he needs to do in order to get back in this game and really get back to his game. And so I think some of this is just they're in a situation where they're going to have to figure out how they're going to be able to standardize three-point shooting in this offense with non-three-point shooters. On the bench, across the board, including Julian Strawther, Russell Westbrook, 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. He was 2 of 10 from the field, 1 of 6 from 3. He was a minus 24. Julian Strawther, who basically played right next to Russell Westbrook, 6 points, 3 of 6 from the field, minus 23. Peyton Watson today, 2, 6, and 1, minus 13. Dario Saric, 2 points, minus 6. Your bench unit, who the reason why they don't resign KCP is in case they need to be able to make further moves, where they need to make trades, where they need to be able to make trades on the roster because someone gets hurt, anything like that. But the other side is this, because you wanted to get somebody else for that taxpayer MLE for $5.2 million. And so they decided to give that with a player option to Dario Saric. And y'all, from the moment Dario Saric walked on the court today, he confirmed everything that I said about him in the offseason. He's not an athlete. He's not a vertical spacer. He's not a rim protector. He is not a defender. He can't switch. He can't post guard. So he's an undersized big with a lack of mobility and a lack of vertical spacing, who's an inconsistent shooter and not a dominant post player. You tell me what about the Nuggets and everything you know about their deficiencies makes that think that would be something that they need. Why would the Nuggets feel that getting a backup big that has nothing to do with the things that Nuggets can't do well already, which is rim protection and vertical spacing, why would you sign someone to that money? Now, Deron Holmes, granted, was supposed to be that player. He was supposed to be that player, 1,000%. But I said this, and again, this doesn't mean he's not going to get better. This doesn't mean he's not going to improve. This doesn't mean he's not going to have good moments. But he can't play in the playoffs. That's not a playoff player. So combining the fact that the two new Calvin Booth signings with Russell Westbrook and Dario Saric, and they gave you mostly nothing today, and they mostly hurt you today. Now, some of this is Russ just doesn't know how to fit with the team yet. Like, there was some stuff he was doing, like even a pass to Joker he had in the first half, in the first quarter, where it was a short roll, and he could have just gave a little in-between short roll pass as a bounce pass, but he threw it over the top, and it's scattered into the half court, which is also one of the no-nos of playing point guard. You don't want to throw the ball over your head backwards because that automatically leads to transition, and that's what happened. Russ got stuck a lot today. Russ only had 2 turnovers, but just with some of the things that he did, like he had more turnovers than that. So it's not even like, it's just the way the team is forming right now. And I think when I'm looking at this roster with Calvin Booth, this team is going to be very good. They're going to win 53-ish games, and they're going to be a contending team. So that has nothing to do with the long-term perspective. But my thing is, Calvin Booth is someone who spends time watching what this team is. He's watched it the last 2 years. Why were the Nuggets so dominant in 23? Oh, because you gave Joker supreme athletes in Bruce Brown, KCP, Christian Brown, Jeff Green. They were supreme athletes, and they were all skilled. That's what took them over the top. You put that next to Joker, you're cooked. Put that next to Murray, you're cooked. But instead of staying with that logic where you could have had that, they then go to another place where they're getting less athletic. And then now they're in a situation where they're just basically saying, we're just going to rely on DHO passing, and hopefully he's a good connector, and hopefully he can be a facsimile of Jokic at the bench. And it just doesn't make a lot of empirical sense to me. And the Nuggets are so young in some spots. They have 5 rookie contracts. Hunter Tyson, Jalen Pickett are second-round picks. They're full-time roster spots. They're just not the kind of players that fit this roster. You know, even when you watch like other teams, the Thunder, the Lakers, even that, I think they have like players who come off their bench. Minnesota has players coming off their bench. Boston, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, Luke, Xavier Tillman. I mean, there's players that like come off their bench make sense. You know, you look at players that like are on some of these other teams that are contending. Like, they have benches that make a little bit of sense. And I'm saying I think the Nuggets bench is better overall. But again, if Dario Saric is like, and let me also say this. I think the Nuggets bench is better in some ways. But what this comes down to is the Nuggets bench formula for the last 2 seasons has been switch everything bench formula. And they tried to do that with Sarge, but they tried to do like the show and recover with Sarge that he wasn't good at all because he has no foot speed and he's not big. Jokic is at least big with very good hands, so he can do that at a very high level. But they did it with Sarge, and Sarge legitimately like was just getting attacked at the rim and it was nothing. Like no nothing. Like just no response whatsoever. Like the construction of the roster for me is just, it doesn't make sense given where they're supposed to be in some ways. But ultimately, y'all, I think this is game one. Like, I don't want to overreact like a crazy bunch, because that's not what's going to happen. It's my concern with this team is that it's clear that there are deficiencies, and it's clear that the shooting was going to be an issue. And they shot 39 threes, which is good. That's what everybody's been waiting for them to do. But they shot 39 threes and mostly from not good three-point shooters, which again further exacerbates the problem. The Denver Nuggets had an 88.8 offensive rating today. That is not the Nuggets. That is not the Nuggets. They had an 88.8 offensive rating today. That is not how they play. But this is kind of the hand that they're being dealt right now. But if I'm Calvin Booth, I'm literally watching this and I'm saying there are clear solutions that are out there that could help this team, and we are going to have to be willing to make the decision to go collect some of those players. I said this already. I said this, I think on Locked On, that I think the Nuggets are still about a player away, a player and a half away. I think that they're going to need another guard. Chris Dunn was easily gettable, didn't want to do it. They need a two-way guard, y'all, like a defender, a POA defender, like a cheap KCP. I said that months ago, that Chris Dunn should be the person. They need also, if they're going to play this style on the bench, I think they need a different kind of big. But ultimately, they just need to also increase their shooting issues. Like Murray, Porter, Jokic, Julian, they have to be like positive shooters this year. But the way that they were in OKC defending Joker, they were double teaming him consistently all of the time. All of the time. The Nuggets shot 40% from mid-range today, or 35% from mid-range. The Nuggets shot 20% on corner threes today. 20% on corner threes today. Again, y'all, like, it's just basic stuff. The Nuggets had a 65.6 half court rating. But they held OKC to an 87.8 off half court rating defensively. But it was the transition that killed them. Like, just irresponsible. Like, when the Nuggets sit down and guard, they play really good defense. But when they turn the ball over, that's the stuff that continues to further exacerbate the issue that they had today. And again, if you look at the overall numbers, 15 turnovers and 29 assists, that's not Denver Nuggets basketball. Now, OKC only had 23 and 12. They were hitting their two-pointers today. But it's just not stuff that you want to see from this team, you know, as it is right now. And I think some of this is that the Nuggets are just going to have to be able to find some answers in some ways within their roster, but they're also going to have to be able to find some ways to continue to add to what they're doing. But just across the board, the Nuggets, they won the rebounding battle 57-49. They won the offensive rebounding battle today 17-13. The Nuggets had 11 steals, OKC's 9. They had 7 blocks, OKC's 13. Only 12 personal fouls today. So there's a lot of things that could have went differently. But ultimately, y'all, just very basic stuff. They just couldn't, like, there was a possession today of 3 straight possessions where they had 3 straight missed layups. And obviously that's going to affect the efficiency for the team. And this is when it was a single-digit game. I think it might have been 3 or 5 point game when they missed these layups. And so if you're going to keep doing that, they missed them, and then they will give up on the other end. Miss them, give up on the other end. Miss them, give up on the other end. They only scored 102 points. Like, this was a sloppy game. It was just most sloppy for the Nuggets. And it got real sloppy once the bench unit started coming in, because the bench unit is sloppy, and there's just they just weren't hitting. Russ 1-6 from 3. Strother 0-2 from 3. He shot 29% from last year. He has to hit this year. Peyton 0-4. Sarge 0-1. You got 1 3 off your bench. Your bench took Your bench took 14 threes and got one of them. Just not good enough. So they definitely have some stuff to figure out. I do think the team obviously will get better from this point on. I said this online already, but this reminds me of the Utah Jazz start where they went to Utah and they got obliterated because they could never beat Utah. They could never beat Utah in Utah. But man, like there's some stuff today that you look at and you're just like, dude, like I don't know what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? Why is this team like the identity needs to be you're strapping up and you're getting timely buckets in the half court. But you have to they did play good defense for most of the game, I think. But on the other end of that, like you got to convert. Like when they're double teaming Joker and you're running a down screen or a back screen for the 3-point shooter, like Christian, like it just don't put him there. Like just flip the court around, put Porter over there, put Murray over there. Like you have to be able to manufacture those things. I mean, again, if I'm them, I'm putting Christian at the top of the key or at the little off the wing set. I'm putting Murray up top, putting MPJ in the corner, or we're switching that. And then from there, it's like, okay, you collapse off the top, give it to Joker. You collapse off to Christian, cut. And then if you cut the baseline weak side defender has to cut in, then you pass it to MPJ. I mean, you got to find ways to do that. Like, and the court has to be properly balanced if you do not have really adequate 3-point shooting. Overall, too, like Jamal Murray, he just really needs to be better. Like, this is not news. Jamal Murray knows that he can't play that well. He can't play that well. Like, it's just one of those situations. He has to be able to improve. He has to be able to hit shots. And we haven't seen, I mean, Jamal Murray was good in game 7, of the second round. So I don't want to say like he has it, but Jamal has had one good game this preseason. One. And I think that where this West is headed right now, like you're just going to have obviously really good play from Jamal this year. And I think, had Jokic had another player come along with them, especially in the first half and the third quarter, I think the game could have turned out different. But it is what it is, you all. The Denver Nuggets, man, they lose, get blown out at home to start the season off. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens from here. They're going to have a lot on their hands. They play the Clippers on Saturday. Obviously a winnable game, but they're going to have to be able to show up and improve it and get it done. Obviously I got Locked On Nuggets tomorrow. I'll be on Player's Choice tomorrow. Talk about this more. But this is obviously not the result that we're looking for from the Denver Nuggets team. A loss. Clean up on the other side. 1,000%. Shooting, I would even say personnel to a degree. Why is Sarge playing switch? You can't do that. So are you going to play drop? Well, then it's just, okay, we got to figure out how to do that then. Then offensively, everyone needs to be better. But especially the players around Joker got to be better. Y'all know what time it is. Hit that like, share, and subscribe, y'all. Swipa gang. See y'all on the other side.